Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 3, where today we've got this group of Dark Elves. What's your name? The Bleakholds. We've got the Bleakholds on the back foot, and we're starting to become exposed to some other nations here, some people who might actually be inclined to, trade with us or potentially provide us some military aid, should that be a thing that we need. We're going to have other problems soon enough, but I guess for now, let's just focus on finishing off these Dark Elves before any other Dark Elves come to their aid. So, what's the size of this army? We're at 17 units now. We still have some healing to do.
Bring in the harvest, or fight.
And we could sit in for a turn and grab 2 more units of giant spiders, take the healing, and then press them afterward. Right now, Arnheim has proper walls and defenses, but it does only have a 10-unit garrison. It's a pretty soft target.
What is this foolishness?
Velovith only has 7 units in her army.
The land's protector.
We could just run up and try to make it happen directly. You know, maybe that's the better play. As much as I am sort of leery of potentially losing these really damaged units of spiders, it's probably best we just get rid of them.
Reduce them to shadow.
So this is going to take a little bit of doing. Because they have a defended settlement, obviously the auto-resolver is going to be a lot kinder to them. Casualties high, and if we mouse over the auto-resolve here, we can see it intends to take from us all of our spider units. In fact, we can now see what Velovith had managed to recruit was a single unit of spear infantry and just a lot of horses. A lot of shock cavalry with reasonably high charge bonuses. But as you can see, 24 attack, 24 defense. Pretty bad stats for just standing and fighting. And then some crossbows on horseback. We're not going to take the auto-resolve. We're going to do this manually. We could hang out for a turn or two and build some battering rams or whatever. But frankly, siege towers are pretty useful to help your units get up on the walls. Siege towers only work for human being-sized infantry-type units, though. They're not going to help us attack with our spiders or our big monsters. So I say let's just go for it. I think we can handle this. I could have scouted. There is a button on that screen for take a peek at the terrain map, but I don't think it's going to matter very much. Okay, so they're built into a little mountain here. It's giving them cover from the north and the west. We are going to have to be a little bit careful. We have a lot of bow troops who are kind of crummy. A lot of these Dark Elf units, they have some armor, or they have armor and shields. And our bow units are not going to be doing a huge amount of damage, but what they can do is just strip the enemy leadership away, right? Nobody likes to be shot at with arrows, even if those arrows aren't technically killing you. And then on top of that, there's the spiders and the monsters and the fear and the spell casting. So I think what we probably want to do here, we could split our force into a couple of different groups to try to spread the defenders thin, and then take advantage of the fact that we have pretty high movement speeds and try to regroup. Alternatively, where are their defensive towers? They have defensive towers all along this wall. This wall has some. I would love to attack at a place where they have fewer, but it looks like every gate has 2 towers around it. This is a reasonably constructed fort. Yeah, all right. Then I think let's just stick with the plan, like I said. Sort of spread out over 2 entrances and use the fact that that most of our units move very quickly to be able to swap once we have gotten the defenders placed. Because basically we had to place our units, then they get to place their units afterward So they have some knowledge of what we have chosen to do. We could put the Exina ambushers somewhere else because they are stealthy, right? So we could have them take up like a side of the battle that nobody else is on in the hopes that they'll be able to just approach the wall and scale it without anybody noticing. The spiders are allowed to deploy all the way up here. I don't know what I want to do with the bats. Let's keep the bats back for a minute. And then we'll do like one of the spellcasters here, one of the spellcasters up here, and then we have our forest monsters, who are pretty fast. I probably don't, you know what, let me swap that. I probably don't want all of the spiders and also the incarnate on the same side. All right, let's see what they do about that. So pretty heavy defense here. They do have 27 units in total, although they're not, great units. So they are able to spread out quite a bit. And I think we are just going to bail on this. This does not actually look to me like it's worth fighting. So hopefully it'll take them longer to reposition than it takes us. Spiders, go forth, destroy this gate. And you can see here we got bleak swords, dread spears up at the top of the wall because dark elves name all of their stuff in that way. And they don't really have units prepared to climb this wall to play defense. So I think my plan is to get the crossbows up on the wall and fire down into the courtyard. The deal here is the same as usual. We have to destroy them or cause them all to retreat. But there are some other things going on with a settlement battle. You can see there are these supply locations that allow the defensive player to construct additional defense towers or barricades or whatever. You can see the points where this allows you to build things. There is a major location further in that is providing a leadership and melee defense buff to all of the defenders. And finally, there is the victory location. Holding the victory location will basically, more or less, it will rapidly deplete the leadership of of their faction if we can get it. So, certainly a worthwhile target.
The cowards amongst you tremble. Yet an old woman stands here, fearless before the foe. Now ask yourselves, do you fear the enemy more?
Okay, they managed to make it past the tower's fire range. I'm gonna have her roll up and just heal. We can drop a little bit of fungal regeneration on these spiders.
Moving my wrath. Let him. I am no hang.
Their crossbows are raining fire over the wall on us. Okay, our archers are starting to do a little bit of work.
Move stacks.
The gate's coming down real fast. Alright, I need you up here. You gotta be ready to make it through.
We fight for Ulsan. Wherever Ulsan asks.
I mean, we're doing okay damage to the things on the wall. Alright, only 900 health left on the gate. Alright, they know my units are here now. Do your best, friends, to take up a position where you can fire into the courtyard. Alright, there goes the enemy gate. So, let's do some work. First things first. They got a unit of bleak swords in here. I would love to... If I cast this on the ground, is it... Okay, yeah, you can see the red triangles underneath the enemies on the wall there. indicating that this will in fact deal damage to those enemies. If we overcast it, we get more duration, and I think that's a good enough reason to spend the extra wins. And yeah, spiders through. The time has come for murder. The elemental incarnate has arrived as well, and yeah, our wizards and whatnot can just run right through. We're gonna want to basically force everything through this gate. I'm a little leery of giving our Kossars direct orders, because like if I order them to shoot at these dark shards and they think they don't have a good angle for that, they'll probably run forward. They'll do unpredictable things, and I'm concerned. Let's see how this works out. They could surge forward and try to stop us from running in. Ooh, okay. They have chosen to do a great and powerful magic instead. Wow. The damage that our legendary lord does with just her normal shooting attack is really impressive. So remember, the incarnate elemental of beasts has anti-large, has a bonus versus large. Large in Total War Warhammer is horse-sized or greater, so these Dark Riders are suffering the full brunt of that. Are they trying to get up on the wall to stop us? They are. Do I want to... Here's what we'll do about that. Pull this witch back. We can wild form the troops on the wall, and also hit these guys in the back with our attacks. Okay, notice our spiders are also classified as large entities, so these dread spears are going to get a little bit of bonus combat skill against them, which is a bummer. It's not ideal. Where are... All right, you guys got to get inside. Okay, yeah, and for the moment, I think that's really all we can do. I'm going to try to wing some of the spiders around and hit these enemies in the side. She seems to be doing a fine job. The caster should... Person's wild form these units as the enemy climbs up. So it's hard to tell, but yeah, they're starting to get their bodies up on the wall. There's a little bit of melee going on. We want to be providing cover there. Do I want you shooting directly at the Dread Spears, or should you be shooting at the... You know what, shoot at the Dark Riders. Let's try to limit the amount of crossbow nonsense that's getting into my spiders. And we are getting kind of a lot of damage on the spiders as well. 40 seconds before we can do our cast again. Hit him in the side. Do whatever you gotta do. Alright, some of the units of spiders are getting a little weak. I have some concerns. This is exactly what I don't want, is for my large units to be getting hit in the side by spears. So we're going to try to run all the way around here. She can just stand and fight. She'll be fine. Alright. Mushroom heals up on the spider core. The Dread Spears are suffering. That's great news. Ugh, they built a barricade to prevent me from doing exactly what I intend on doing. You know what? I will use these units to capture the capture point instead. The Elemental Incarnate still doing some excellent work over there. Alright, I think the time has come to lead the bow troops inside. Alright, looks like their Dread Spears are basically giving up. Our units of cavalry have taken enough fire from the witches. And they are thinking they can just shoot at us while we cap the point. I have a different opinion. Yeah, these units will not hold up for long in melee. You know who's not doing anything? Those bats. I always forget about they're just, you know, they're not very good is the thing. And that causes me to forget they exist. You start focusing up on those Dark Riders. What do we want to do with our Hag Mother? You know, capturing this point is probably the right move at this point with that unit. And let's get the ambushers up there as well. So they have a tier 2 defensive tower here that is controlled by this supply location. If we claim this supply location, it will immediately dismantle that tower. They got another tower that's firing down on us that we could break as well. So that's got to be like the next priority. In fact, this is they are constructing towers over here right now. Also, obviously, that barricade that prevented my flank is controlled by this location. Let's have the spiders. I'm gonna do a lot of relocating up to here. Fight on the point, nerds. Focus, focus.
Mother of stuff.
I wonder, can I get... There we go. Crows in there. I think the things in the woods need to fall back. They're taking kind of a lot of arrows. Alright, got that cavalry retreating. What are y'all doing? They are certainly doing a version of the orders I gave them. Okay. This control point is mine. Spider units in. Actually, I may be overcommitting my spider units. Maybe this spider unit at the very least probably fall back actually. You guys just make sure that broken unit stays broken. So you'll notice they are currently fleeing. Units that are just displaying the white flag overhead will not necessarily continue fleeing forever. They may, once they are no longer surrounded by enemies, they may turn and regain their nerve. So it's important to put a little bit of pressure on them just to keep them back. I think we're gonna aid some over here because it looks like our elemental is doing a little poorly. And she's certainly not needed over there anymore. I'm going to have her run this way. She's mostly a ranged attacker, but with this level of bonus versus infantry and stuff, we could absolutely use her to just charge their ranged and break them down. She should be quite good at that, actually. Okay, and we have our ambushers. Let's put some of these enemies away. This unit of spiders really needs to fall back.
Mother of stuff.
Actually, maybe go into melee mode and just like really have at them. Because they're going to try to damage our ranged, and I would love it if that didn't happen. Alright, so she's going to summon a fresh group of things in the woods, kind of all around our enemies. We'll just collapse in on them like that. Okay, so this unit now has a skull next to its white flag. That is a permanently broken enemy unit. These Dark Riders have decided that they are going to come back and be clever. We'll fix that soon enough. Okay, those are broken. We probably need to withdraw the Incarnate Elemental from the field. It's exhausted, it's horribly injured, but it's done some very, very good work for us here in just sort of like breaking the initial siege situation. And I mean, at this point, the battle is pretty much over. What we're really looking at here is mostly a question of like, how bad will our losses be? And that matters, you know, that matters for pushing on to the next thing, for defending ourselves against whoever feels wise enough to come up against us next. All right, so she's gonna break those guys down. As soon as we finish breaking these swords, the elemental is retreating. It's not usually a good idea to pull something back when it's in like active combat with enemies, because they'll just strike it in the back. Okay. Speaking of things that probably need to fall back. Actually, a lot of these spider units are doing okay. Their lord is completely surrounded, which is great news for us. They don't really have any defenses here at the thing that's holding up most of their towers. Really, all they have going for them is the towers themselves. So we need to fix that problem. Ambusher units. We get some fire over here. We are getting crossbowed. Mother Ostankia is getting crossbowed to death a little bit. That's got to get fixed. Let's get the Kossars up here. The bats we're probably going to lose, and not necessarily this battle even, but you know, just like the very nature of a unit of bats is to get destroyed eventually. I'm fine with it. That's okay by me. I don't actually want to pull him outside the wall because I'm definitely worried about the archer unit that's out there. These horse archers are suffering badly. Let's go out of melee mode. Okay. Well, they surrendered before we could even grab the next control point. I suppose that's fair enough. That battle was going very badly for them. So, lots of damage on our units, but critically, nothing died. It's very important to try to maintain your experience levels, especially early in the game when you have like relatively fewer advantages to apply. Once you have your like economy and stuff built up, you can press like a large scale economic advantage or something. It's not such a big deal to lose experienced troops and have to replace them with new stuff. But right now, we need every little edge we can get, and the couple points of melee attack and leadership provided by those levels, meaningful, very meaningful. And overall, pretty good kill stats. Over 100 kills for the Elemental, 147 for Mother Ostankia, probably mostly just her basic attack, not even those crow spells. And that side push from the ambushers worked out spectacularly. I was very happy with that. I believe this is the last settlement that this faction held, so we have now removed them entirely from the map. Got ourselves a Wand of Jet, which will give us some additional power recharge at the cost of increasing our cooldowns a bit. More spells is more good, you know? So loot and occupy is a thing I don't usually like to do because it means you're taking control of a settlement that has busted up buildings in it. And you end up having to pay in both money and time to fix those buildings before they're useful for you. However, with it giving spirit essence in this campaign, that's definitely more compelling. I'm going to go ahead and just take the normal occupy for now. We got a veteran warrior for winning a battle with 8 or more infantry units, which gives us bonus levels on infantry recruited into this army. It's pretty good, actually. Also, achieving victory over Dark Elves multiple times has earned us a trait. The whole army gets bonus leadership when fighting Dark Elves. That's probably going to come up a lot, actually. We have secured the entirety of the province. We have destroyed that Dark Elf faction.
Mother Ostantia.
So now that we have the whole province, we get access. We can issue a commandment across it. These are just extra little buffs, like +4 control, and also an even greater movement range loss for enemies beginning their turns in my territory. Income from buildings up, local recruitment capacity up. So that's 2 extra recruitment slots. Reduction in the chance of a plague spreading, higher level hero recruitment, and corruption -5. Interesting. This is definitely something you would want to turn on in a focused way when you're trying to accomplish a particular goal. For right now, we're not likely to have enemy armies in here. I think the thing that probably makes the most sense is just awaken the land. Just make us a little bit of extra money for the moment. And we do, in fact, have enough population. We have a whole point of population surplus to level up one of these things from level 1 to 2, or we could push the Bleakhold Fortress up another level, gaining access to snow leopards. 55 charge bonus on 50 melee attack, with a healthy bonus versus large and a lot of armor piercing damage. And also feral ice bears. And also feral bears. Stat-wise, how different are these? 57, 40, 77. The ice bears seem just better. But there's only 9 of them in a unit, whereas you get 12 of the other bears. So that is significant. What does their chilling aura do? Okay, movement speed down for nearby enemies. Makes sense. Yeah, it might be best. We have 4 turns until we get the next point of population. It might be best to actually max out the Bleakhold Fortress first, just so that we can get access to those better units. So let's not pursue any of that stuff.
Just an old woman.
Got ourselves some level ups to pursue. So we can pursue upgrades to the Enfeebling Foe. What does the Overcast version of this do? It just increases the duration so that it's longer than the cooldown. That's interesting. We could learn some new spells too, though. The Withering. Minus leadership, minus armor. That's fine, I guess. When you overcast it, it becomes an area effect spell. That's more interesting. That's definitely compelling. And the Amber Spear is just a big, a magic missile kind of thing. Which, when overcast, does just a lot of damage. Pretty good against monsters, pretty good against characters. I think let's start with the Withering. I think the Overcast version of this, that is an area effect spell, is actually pretty interesting.
The power of a witch is in her charms.
Okay, you are going to continue to gain these blue skills. Ooh, hold on a second. You can gain a growth bonus to the local province. I think that's a thing. I think that's what we want. All right, and then if we're going to be sitting here in the settlement for a turn, we should probably go ahead and do some recruitment. Look, infantry units getting bonuses. Taking over a settlement, doing the occupy action, automatically spends all of your movement, so the army has to spend the turn in the settlement. So I think right now we're not actually at war with anyone. I don't expect that to hold for very long, because obviously these Dark Elf factions have some pretty negative feelings about us. But for the moment, we're secure-ish. We got to figure out which direction we want to go in here. So the ancient city of Quintex has a landmark we could build. A little bit of income, quite a bit of growth. It's not great. It's not an amazing landmark.
Cain bids you welcome.
I will say this. Not all factions get Legendary Lords. The playable factions get Legendary Lords. And obviously, Legendary Lords, as you might guess from the name, they can be exceedingly powerful. This is one of the player factions, one of the ones with the legendary lord, and I'm wondering if maybe the thing we want to do is just like pounce on them now and try to knock them out of the game before they can get
I'm disinclined to listen.
before they can get real. They have three. These are the only 3 settlements they have in the entire world. So, and they're at war with another faction already. I think trying to sweep over here quickly and push through them makes sense. So yeah, that'll be the plan. Let's go ahead and execute. It looks like they're about to wipe that other faction off the map. Sildrator had 0 military presence. But hopefully it takes them, at least a couple of turns. Give us a chance to get a foothold. We should reach out to these elves and see if they are perhaps interested in trade or at least formalizing positive relationships with us due to the fact that we just completely wrecked one of their enemies. And there are more dark elves right there. Okay, win 10 battles with any single hero character. Alright, we'll stick to that. A hero embedded within an army will fight and gain experience and stuff. If we do this, we get some spirit essence and a shield of sacrifice. Okay, so as long as you are under 25% and in melee, you're giving plus 20% damage resistance to all friendly troops in 35 meters. That's pretty big. That seems like a pretty big bonus.
Phoenix Court awaits your plea.
Okay, they're actually way into a trade agreement. Could we manage a non-aggression pact as well? How much money would they want? I think I'm going to do this.
A wise course.
You can see there is now a treaties with Tiranoc term here on our relations with Tiranoc that is pushing their opinion of us up by 25 points. Getting a couple of treaties and contracts going is the best way to push your relationship up so you can get more treaties and contracts. It's good to have friends. We need to have at least some friends. Also, this trade contract is earning us some money, so that's significant. We have a bunch of money, but we don't have very much income.
Call me witch.
Okay.
Tis less expect.
We're going to execute a normal move here. And as long as you are inside friendly territory, you can go into the mustering stance at any time, as long as you aren't in a different stance already. Let's do a little bit more recruiting. Like I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and kick these bats out of the army. I just don't think we need bats. So let's get 2 more units of giant spiders. And you can see we are still healing in friendly territory outside of the city, but it's dramatically less total healing. But I want to make sure we're putting pressure on these elves as quickly as we can.
It is easy to discover. You simply need crawl inside.
I've already forgotten what we were working on. Cold storage, growth, and casualty replenishment rate. Yep, that's smart. That's a good thing to be working on.
I am a meat in my own lifetime.
Obviously, as you can see here, without casualty replenishment rate improvements from somewhere, it will take forever for an army to heal off the damage from a battle. And with that, the economics being as tight as they often are on the higher difficulty levels, you as the player you cannot afford to have whole armies worth of guys who just aren't combat ready. So we'll keep an eye out for sources of that and hopefully be able to actually be able to put ourselves together in the space between one battle and another without having to cower inside our cities for like 10 turns. All right. So 2 from that box opens up this further down box. 15 armor for war sleds. Hero capacity up for patriarchs. Ooh, campaign movement range up and also speed up for Akshina ambushers. I like that a lot. And then 3 of the things from that box will lead to little bit of bonus armor piercing damage for our guns. This is not terribly interesting. Armor up for cavalry and spell and physical resistance for all of the bears. Sorry, for all of the elementals. The normal living bears do not get any such bonus.
The fear of hags is good.
Okay,
Gives us power.
so let's talk about our other stances for a second here. We have this encampment stance that allows us to continue replenishing and indeed to recruit stuff from the global recruitment pool, even if we're not in a place where that would normally be possible. But campaign movement range penalty 50%. So you can't go into this stance unless you have more than 50% move remaining. Which means that we can't charge forward into enemy territory and then just encamp to come out of it. Okay, I'm gonna run right up to the border.
land calls to me there.
We'll get one more turn of healing out of this. Ooh, okay, that's Morathi. That's their legendary lord. She is a danger for sure.
All powerful sorceress.
And then they have another smaller army here. Fortunately, Sildrator, the elves who are at war with them, are massing up just south of that, so
It is
maybe they can provide a distraction for us. So I'm not really eager for spellcasters. We don't have a ton of these units, but we have Kossars and Akshina ambushers, so you know, some melee defense for units that you really don't want to be in melee in the first place. The other thing we might take is Charms Above the Door, leading to double, which is interesting. Yeah, all right.
such strange newness.
We got to go through 100 to move our quest forward, right? So, all right. Next turn we can pursue that upgrade. For right now, let's see what happens. If the Dark Elves try to attack us, we will have the ability to fall back. And we're right at the edge of Morathi's movement range, it looks like, so they wouldn't be able to pursue us. Oh, they're going to just stay focused and try to wipe out the other elf faction, which they did. That's a shame. There goes my distraction. Oh, here comes Count Noctilus and his dread fleet. What our elven allies wanted right at this moment was certainly not to see vampire pirates on their shores. I'm a little worried about that Dark Elf faction. Getting pressed from the south by Noctilus and getting pressed from the north by those Dark Elves, they might actually get defeated, which would be bad for us because, first of all, it would mean enemies right across the waterway in another direction. So even more sort of like surface area exposed to hostiles. And secondly, I like our trade agreement, and I want to keep getting trade.
The great gods in the north sending the lost against us.
Okay, this is very expensive,
That fight.
but I want to get it maxed out.
Heed my hexes.
Okay, so here's where it gets a little more complicated. If we step into their territory, we're going to start suffering attrition damage. You see the little skull and crossbones next to the movement cursor. There's too much damn chaos corruption in this region, and it will harm us badly. Also, trespassing will have diplomatic repercussions, I suppose. But we definitely want to put some pressure on them, and if we could catch Morathi off guard, this would be a good time to do so. I think if we attack at the Petrified Forest, and then occupy it, we'll be stuck in there, and if these two armies are capable of taking us down, we'll just be defenseless. Especially with the amount of damage that's still on some of our units, I'm a little leery. I'm a little leery of that.
Say less.
What we could do is run for the ancient city of Quintex instead. Try to snipe their capital, and then get in a defensive stance up there. So the Petrified Forest is probably, yeah, not really doing very much for them. Although it is giving them the ability to recruit stuff. They have some recruitment buildings up. I want to get aggressive, but I am actually like kind of torn as to how to do it, as to what will be the best way. All right, let's go into encamp stance. This makes us immune to most attrition.
Around the fire,
You can see the movement.
spirits
Movement's pretty slow, but we couldn't reach Quintex this turn anyway. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna continue encamping mobile into their territory. We'll see how they respond, and maybe that'll give us a sense of what makes sense to do.
It has been a very
All right, double can't get upgraded for quite some time. Ice Court indoctrinations, very whatever. Yeah, I don't know that we want to unlock training slots, really. Is there anything else here that really, like, jumps out? Winds of Magic Power Reserve change, plus 15% when increasing. What a weird way to write that. Line of sight up. Income from trade up. What else do we get here? Bonuses against very specific enemies. Ooh, income from ports up by 20% is pretty significant. Or at least it will be once you, have a couple of ports. But also, we could just take... You know what? Let's grab this for right now.
We prepare. Chaos waits for
The
no
healing
one.
matters. The healing matters a bunch. And we're completely uncorrupted in our territory, right? Yeah, so it doesn't make sense for us to fire the purification chant. All right. Let's see how they treat our intrusion into their territory.
Cauldron. It is easy to discover. You simply need crawl inside.
So whenever you are inside of another player's territory, you're generating diplomatic penalties with one of your armies, I should specify. You're generating diplomatic penalties. But obviously I don't really care what this Dark Elf faction thinks of me because I intend to go to war with them and try to eliminate them from the game in any case. You can see Count Noctilus has declared war on Tor Enrock, so that's a shame. I would love to help out, but I kind of got my army stuck into something over here. So good luck, Sir Thara Belkek. Oh, I thought she was... For a moment there, I thought she was headed over to try to prevent Count Noctilus from coming ashore, but I don't know what it is she has done instead. Left the city, felt the weather, been like, oh, actually, screw this, and just gone back inside, I guess. Mission issued, recruit 30 new units. Wars rage, the length and breadth of this land. Yeah. Do military stuff. Got it. And we'll get a standard that we can give to one of our units in battle to increase their armor-piercing weapon damage. Interesting.
I am the first
All right.
sorceress.
So even in March mode, she can't make it back to the city. Not even particularly close. We can't quite make it to the city either.
Lift your slovenly heels.
Well, I'm gonna stay in encampment mode and try to do this as safely as
The
possible.
offspring of chaos disappear. For this is what I do for Kislev.
3 turns until we can start building other buildings, or at least upgrades to the buildings we have for the most part, because it is a tiny little settlement. They've got to have some idea of my intentions at this point. Whether that is like important enough for them to stop what they're doing and come running to save the ancient city of Quintex, I don't know. Probably not, right? But they're probably at least planning around it. Yep, and there's Count Noctilus burning down elven buildings and running and laughing and just generally having a great time, but it's a lot less fun when you're not, on the same team as him. There is, sadly, nothing that we're going to be able to do to lend this elven faction any, like, kind of military assistance for quite a while. We are really really committed to this war over here, and we are not going to have a second army anytime soon, so good luck, elves. Try your best.
The lands protect.
All right. Hold on a second. Who is at war with this faction? Wait, this isn't even the right faction. The Cult of Pleasure. The only people they're at war with are a tribe of beastmen that we have not yet had the pleasure of being introduced to, so I guess we're just going to declare war for us. It is nice when you can approach someone who is at war with your enemy and be like, hey, I could definitely help you out with that if only you gave me a whole lot of money. We'll go ahead and auto-resolve this.
Kill for Kislev.
Ooh, Trickster's Helm. That is a fair amount of defense right there. Didn't make very much money. I was hoping we would make more money. Also, 7 Spirit Essence puts us at 19, which means we can't immediately purify this. So I actually am going to do the Loot and Occupy. We've leveled up enough to get access to the Wolf Hearts, a special regiment of Akshina ambushers. Alright, so first things first.
The spirits.
Yeah, 92 Slanish corruption. We're going to have to do something about that.
Salyak, mother.
Helpful. It is trending upward. We're going to have to do some stuff about that as well. Okay, repair the main settlement structure. Oh, I see. The Catacombs of Quintex levels up. And yeah, at the top level, it's actually, wow, it's very real. Honestly, I think we probably do want this to be the first building we build, because that plus 20 growth is going to, well, it's going to almost double our growth rate. Right now we have 23.
Say hag.
All right. Astankia can pick up evasion. It's a passive speed and melee defense buff. It's fine. But you're picking it up so you can get access to this good stuff in the box over here. Yeah, wow, that is a horrifying debuff.
Help is always appreciated.
It's just like the spell that makes your opponent bad at everything. Okay, we're going to need a turn or two of relative silence to heal up. And we have the resources to start doing other things. So these do scale up. I'm going to take the upgrade on the big settlement and just run us completely out of money. You know how it is. It's worth going out of your money if you're achieving income or the sorts of things that you need to get income going. I see. They are just going to sail around and destroy the moon shard. That's very annoying behavior. We may well lose that. I'm not sure that we can defend that. But what we can do is make that elf army suffer after they take our stuff. Already down to a mere 206 factions on this map. There's a lot of culling that happens in the first, 30 turns or so. Okay, quest issued to occupy, loot, raise, or sack 3 different settlements for 5,000 gold and the Cauldron of Power. Wow. Plus 20% damage on her missile attack, which is already so good. Mastery of the Elemental Winds for embedded Hagwitch heroes. When 2 or more units in the same army share this attribute, intensity increases the power of your spells cast. Huh. Interesting. So they're trying to come up with a good reason for you to have other Hagwitches in the army. And that's kind of an interesting one. All right.
Just an old woman.
We don't know where their other forces are, but we do know
Keep up with my sled.
that we've done some work on the corruption here, so at least we're not going to be bleeding terribly.
The Beowulfs take me.
All right, I'm running as fast as I can go. Like I said, we're gonna have to punish after the fact on this one.
Is that what your people calls a warrior?
We've encountered Hexoatl, a lizard man faction. I don't know where we saw some of their stuff. The way you encounter another player is by mutually getting vision of each other. Okay, an army made pretty much entirely of missile infantry. That's interesting.
Hearts of ice.
Yeah, our tiny settlement garrison is no match for them. I see no reason to even try that. And we'll just go reclaim our moon shard. Did that army... Okay, yeah, the army did stay in the settlement. It's a little scary. It's a lot of density of fire. We can definitely kill those units, but I am worried about the amount of damage that we will sustain doing so. We might be in like slightly over our heads with this war, but I really think if there's a chance to take out Marathi and her faction sooner rather than later, I feel like you got to take it. Okay, that's true. We did lose the moon shard. We did finish this technology, though. Mission issued research technologies to get the White Cloak of Ulrich. Lowers the melee attack fairly significantly of enemies within 35 meters all the time, and also some spirit essence.
Gullible fools!
So I'm gonna ride in here at basically full speed,
My own
even though this means that our army is in a much less versatile state. In part because I am fleeing Marathi. I just don't want to get sandwiched between the two Dark Elf armies. That'd be probably very bad for us, actually. Do you need to have researched... Okay, you need 4 of the technologies from the previous box. Is this any good? Nope, these are upgrades for units that we cannot recruit right now. Ooh, weapon strength up for things in the woods units by a pretty significant margin, actually. And then construction cost down for all buildings for the entire playthrough is certainly interesting. Yeah, okay. I think I'm sold on
The
that.
snows never needed the invention of fire.
We have building upgrades available. Ah, yes, we have an empty slot here. So I am inclined to build Ostenka's hut, and obviously that's going to require us to win some gold somewhere. I have an idea where we might get it.
You are not even worth cursing.
I'm wondering if Hellisfer will feel like it's worth it to fight us, or if they will just bail. Okay. They want a battle, and the auto-resolver thinks we do not have this. I disagree. I think we're on top of it. This is definitely going to be a battle where our spellcasters come into play fairly heavily, but we have a few units of spiders that should be able to do some good work. The key to this one, a big part of this one, is going to be making sure that we're not giving them the opportunity to really bring their crossbows to bear as a group against any of our units. Because, like, with this volume of fire, they could overwhelm pretty much anything. I will say, I wish I had harder hitting damage spells. But the crows should do some pretty good work against a force that is this heavy on basic infantry. That's a lot of bodies to take damage from the crow swarm. Okay, we don't actually know where you are. I feel like this is the play, though. Yeah, I kind of think it is something like this. We might want to put the incarnate elemental like over here somewhere. We kind of want them to be approaching the spiders. And the things in the woods are cavalry. They can start like here. All right. So, big question. Most important question. How much luring are we trying to do here? Yeah, I think something like this, then we're just going to roll forward and flock of doom them as quickly as possible.
You know the tales about me.
Okay.
About
We don't know what the
Mother
overcast
Santa
costs,
and
but we
her
do know that we
curses
can't do it
and
just
her
yet.
Cauldron. Take heart.
So we have
because
120
the
range.
enemy does not.
They have
But I will
125.
teach them well.
I don't remember what the overcast on this spell was. It's probably not very much. There we go. I'm trying to like get shots off at the edges here while not putting myself within their shooting range at all. Wow, the overcast on this is like extremely expensive.
That way. Take me. I am decided.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, it goes all the way up to 12. Let's cast right there, get some damage going.
The snows guide me.
Okay. Had I accidentally placed a unit of Kossars all the way down there somehow? I guess I must have. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't know how that would have occurred. My ambushers are firing without revealing their positions. Remember, very important. You guys got to just like make it to cover. Whatever you got to do, just make it to those trees. We have 140 range on our Kossars. So they'll come into our range. They'll take fire before they're able to do any.
Moving my wrath.
Actually, let me specify a target though. I want to make sure the Kossars are working on the enemy archers, not anything else. And they're getting close enough now that they're going to start picking targets themselves, so it's probably time to initiate the charge. Ambushers, you are also on Dark Shard duty. I think the things in the woods and Mother Astankia are both just like running at them. I'm not going to put her in melee mode just yet. I do want her to execute charges, but it'll be in a minute. We're going to give it a second before we engage the spiders. But it's going to get real ugly for them when we engage the spiders. Keep running, keep running. That is not where I told you to stop. Okay, here we go. Now that it's really too late for them to pull out, now it is time for spiders. Basically just charge directly. Don't stop for nothing. And you've been visible the whole time, but there's nothing really for you to do except charge and make murder. Okay, we're going to try to break down individual units as quickly and efficiently as possible. I'm a little leery of pressing Talika forward here. There's too many archer units grouped up that don't have anything else to worry about, I think. I was kind of thinking about using this unit of things in the woods to, ambush eventually, but I am starting to think that maybe I need to use them. I'm going to summon them now and use them to distract. Here come the spiders. There we go. Ugh, more elf magic. Yep, so y'all do that, and Talika needs to probably just like run this way and also try to get all the way in on them. You'll notice we're breaking the morale of these units very, very quickly. All right, you hit those dark shards. You try to hit these ones. You lot just run deep. Just get behind everything. You're going to do some serious harm once you are behind everything. Also worth noting, they do have 2 heroes. These melee specialist masters. 39 melee attack, not that impressive, but they are anti-large. They got that big halberd, and they do have 62 melee defense, so they're pretty hard to hit. I might want to steer the elemental incarnate of beasts a little bit more carefully around them, actually. Maybe the move is like this. And I don't know. I don't think I want to spend our first mushroom charge yet. I think I'm going to hold on to Flock of Doom. We don't know how much the Withering costs to overcast. I really wish that it would display, you know, when you cannot afford, which would tell you how much you're short. So you get a better sense of how long you have to wait. All right. These units are going to take some fire for sure.
Mother of duck.
Okay. We're getting some good break and panic from the enemy here. Show them who is the boss. This unit of Kossars is somehow holding their own against the Dread Spears. Fantastic work, friends. These Akshina ambushers are getting meleeed by the masters. I do not love that. I don't know how much I can realistically do about it right now, especially since we need to push and break these ranged units. But what I can do is throw up a little regen field. And, you know, these guys do a lot of anti-large damage, but as long as they're focused on the other enemies, maybe we can punch them in the back with the Elemental Incarnate. Here she goes, crashing through these archers. The spiders are just like completely overrunning. Elf magics. They look more impressive than they actually are. We're not really taking very much damage from this. Let's try to make sure that we are applying the force of the spiders through here. Y'all need to change focus. I'm wondering if the thing that makes sense is to have them try to shoot the masters. The problem with that as a plan is that it relies on the masters being hittable, which if they're in the middle of our group of ambushers may not actually be the case. I'm going to try... Let's try to pull back a little bit here. I'm going to try to break my units away from them, and we'll see if we can... We'll see if we can create an opening for these Kossars. Disengage, disengage. Okay, you stay on them. seems like people are mostly doing a pretty good job of fighting here. I think maybe this is a good time to dramatically debuff this particular enemy. All right, one of the masters is fully out in the open. Just fucking let him have it. He's trying to go spider hunting. We have to take that off the table. Actually, most of you are already over here. Go ahead and stay focused on the thing you were doing. All right, yeah, the spiders are going to win this battle by themselves, basically.
Obey the orthodoxy!
Let those incoming troops suffer under some arrows. Their lord is almost dead. When the lord of an army goes down, the army suffers a pretty serious morale loss. Looks like we lost this fight over here. How are we doing on... Oh, hey. You need to pop your potion of toughness. You are actually getting your butt kicked by this unit of shades. Yeah, okay. Shades are relatively elite. 56 attack. Only 35 melee defense, but you're just not doing the damage I was hoping you'd do. All right, we need a rescue over here. Can I get... First of all, don't you dare panic. Okay, then we will crow them just for the damage. You gotta back out, but like back out in a, you know, a controlled, sort of definitely planned, tactically sound kind of way. Their lord, all wrapped up by spiders, is panicking and running. If we break their lord, that'll be the end of it. All right, try your best to disengage. We're coming, we're coming. We probably don't need 2 units of spiders here. One unit of spiders will cut it, I'm sure. And I want to make sure all of these things are... Yeah, okay. There we go. The panic of their lord, I think, did a lot of damage to their morale overall. Yeah, I don't know how the game figured we were going to lose that one. It was a bunch of archers against what is essentially an army that's composed entirely of light cavalry. It's not great. It's not great for them. We do have a pretty strange composition. We don't really have any units that can stand and fight. It's all ambush cavalry and weird archers. And like the Kossars are kind of like half a tier 1 melee unit with their axes, but yeah, it's a strange force. That said, Helisfer is well and truly embarrassed here. This is going to give us a pretty easy time finishing her off and reclaiming our settlement. But we know that they already have another full stack ready to come over and stomp on us. And I am worried about that. Not sure exactly what my plan is over the next couple of turns. But this, I think, was very promising. This is a more real army of Dark Elves than the ones we'd been facing before, which were, you know, tiny little forces with no sort of organizational backup. And we performed here. We were even able to deal with their potentially pretty powerful heroes. So I think this is one of those cases where I want to take the replenishment. I just need like every little bit of health we can get. The 1,000 treasury gold would be really nice, but we require invigoration. Yep, and here comes Marathi. Is Helisfer going to be able to get into reinforcement range of her? Ugh, I think so. It might be worth trying it anyway, honestly. So if we attack Helisfer in that location, I believe Marathi's troops will be able to show up to the battle as reinforcements, they'll come in from an edge of the map like 2 minutes in. Might be worth it. Might be worth it to still go for it. I think it really depends on what Marathi's army is made up of, for one thing. Mission issued. Maintain control of 3 whole provinces, either by direct ownership or through vassals and military allies, to get a spirit resistance, or a spell resistance trinket. That's kind of not all that impressive. Also, so very many notifications popping every single turn. Research 3 of the following technologies. Okay, ice sculpting, the ice things, the things that let you get the ice heroes. The only reward is a little bit of spirit essence. We'll see. Maybe I will do that. So we can definitely go ahead and spend our level ups, but we're not going to obviously engage in any further battle here. So the Curse of Unrare is a pretty serious debuff. 24 attack and defense, big accuracy reduction, big speed reduction. While Occam's Mind Razor is just a very dramatic damage increase. And then we also have here Earthing, which reduces your chance to miscast. Every time you overcast a spell, there's a chance that it will kind of misfire. Now, in Warhammer terms, a misfire it's a spell that still goes off. The spell goes off, it does everything it was supposed to do. It's just that you get like sort of a feedback effect, and your caster takes a bunch of damage from the casting. And this can absolutely kill you. I have seen mages overcast a spell and literally just explode on the spot. By default, overcasts have a 50% chance to miscast, so reducing that obviously is helpful. And then this is just start with, it increases the top end of the pool, the size of the overall Winds of Magic pool, which is like fine. I gotta say, the big debuff feels really significant. Let's go for that.
More than just mere baubles.
Big expensive debuff. All right, so now I'm thinking maybe I'm actually going to use you as a combat unit in the longer turn. If we unlock Mother Knows Best, so the Lord of this army gets magical attacks, bonus XP, a potion of toughness, and an additional use on the potion of toughness. That's interesting. And these are exclusive. Plus 50% effect duration for spells that debuff enemies. This gives a vigor loss reduction and stalk for animal units. I guess the stalk is just for things in the wood and the incarnate elemental beasts. That's pretty good, though. Or just massive combat damage upgrade for yourself. It is worth noting that weapon strength here only affects melee damage. This will not change the damage of the missiles, which are really the main way we would like to be using this unit. So I don't really love this one. Causing terror is like fine. I kind of like Mother Knows Best, honestly. Leveling up Ostankia more quickly is going to have huge benefits for us. Okay, so can we see what's in Marathi's army? We can. It's got a much better balance of melee to protect the Dark Shards, some higher level units, Demonettes of Slaanesh, Witch Elves. And Marathi herself is nothing to sneeze at. 55 attack, 52 defense, with 15 bonus versus large. She doesn't really have any armor, nor clothing, really. And she's like quite a squishy target. But also she's a wizard, right? She's got spells and stuff. So I don't know. I don't much like our chances against their 2 stacks combined. In any case, like I was saying, it's not a problem to worry about right this second. That's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, we're going to have to deal with this awfully large number of Dark Elves up in our territory. And frankly, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to survive it all. But we'll find a way. because we have to. And we'll see you then.